All right, good afternoon. This is the Wednesday, September 22nd meeting of the Design and Project Review Committee. We do have a quorum. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules so that members can participate either electronically or by telephone.
Second.
All right. Knighton,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Kano,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Vanetta,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hink. Is Hink here today? Is Jessica here today?
It looks like she's trying, it's showing joining in the waiting room. So maybe, I don't know. Jessica's here. Okay. Jessica, do you agree to suspend the rules?
I do.
Okay, great.
Okay, motion carries.
Next up, meeting minutes of September 8th. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in, or I'm sorry, Katie, call the roll, please.
Knighton,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Schnur,
I'll abstain. I wasn't here.
Kano,
Abstain, not present.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Vanetta,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hink.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. First item of business is new business. Actually, it's all new business. 2754 Crawford. Walker R. Lawrence, property owner, requests a variation from section 6-8-3-7A4 of the Evanston zoning code to allow a rear yard of approximately 14 feet 10 inches where 30 feet is required for the construction of an addition to the existing principal structure in the R2 single family residential district. The Zoning Board of Appeals is the determining body for this case in accordance with section 6-3-8-10 of the Evanston zoning code. Mr. Lawrence, are you on?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, why don't you tell us what you want to.
So the current residence, 2754 Crawford, single-family home that has a aluminum all-window structure on the back that's been there approximately 35 years. I don't know exactly when it was built. Long story short is that it is slowly falling into disrepair, both through, falling of branches, things of that nature, but also just the aluminum structure itself through ages, is expanding and contracting. And so it's a double window pane and there's water in some of them. There's water that drips. Some of the windows don't close completely, etc. So we have proposed tearing down the current structure and replacing it with a more complete facade with three the same exact footprint, but with a proper foundation, also to insulate it so that it can be used more fully throughout the year, etc. Similar a number of windows, etc., but also is designed it in a way that mimics the architecture of the home so that it aligns with the spirit of all these homes, which are all in a very similar architectural structure.
All right, any questions from staff? Katie, you reviewed this. Any comments from staff?
We did not have any, no.
Then I will make a motion for a positive recommendation to ZBA.
Second.
A second.
Who seconded on that?
Edgar.
Kane.
Okay, thank you. All right. Knighton,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Kano,
Yes.
Biggs,
aye,
Tristan,
Aye.
Vanetta,
aye,
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Heinck,
Aye.
motion carries.
Great. And the ZBA meeting is when?
October 19th at 7 PM. It will be held on Zoom. The notice hasn't been issued yet. We're hoping to get that out Friday, if there's not any other agenda items on that meeting.
Great. All right, next up is 703 Church Street, preliminary final review. TJ Callahan applicant submits for an outdoor dining cafe permit farmhouse in the D3 downtown core development district. So TJ, I know you had some additional slides. Did you want to share your computer or does somebody else want to share their computer?
I'm not sure I'm able to make the PowerPoint and work with the Zoom. So we'll just go with what you have. Okay.
Are you sure? We can put, other staff have it. Do you want us to pull it
Yeah,
up?
if you want to put it up.
Okay.
that'd
So
be great.
Katie, are you able to share your screen now?
Yes,
Okay.
just a moment. Okay. Is that good?
Works for me.
Okay, perfect.
All right, well, I don't want to spend too much time on the background, but we have historically been one of the highest volume restaurants in town. I'm sure you guys all know, the Hilton is in foreclosure right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. And we've been, struggling over the last year and a half, like many other restaurants. The 2019 payroll was over $2 million. We're obviously can't support that kind of payroll right now, but most of the people in the restaurant are live in Evanston. We can go to the next slide. 2021, we're running about 52% behind 2019. We're running ahead of 2020, but we're like many other restaurants. I'm losing money on a weekly basis. One important note for you is we learned last year, roughly 80% of our sales were coming from outdoor dining. So outdoor dining is, it's shifted. It's not quite as much that way this year, but outdoor dining is far more important now than it ever has been. And we can go to the next slide. What we have proposed to do is this whole project came after I talked to economic development of the city of Evanston, which flagged our location as possibly one where a permanent outdoor dining facility could be built. So we put together this particular proposal. This is essentially a permanent awning to provide weather protection for outdoor dinings over the footprint of the existing Sidewalk Cafe that we have there now. For the city's perspective, I would see the benefits as more energy on the street. The intersection at Arlington and Church is probably one of the higher visibility intersections in the city. And a lot of foot and vehicle traffic go by there. With the loss of some of the downtown retail and some of the normal reasons why people would come downtown, I see more activity on the street as a benefit to the city. And obviously it's a benefit to us as a business operating in the city, being able to protect our customers from the weather is a massive benefit to us. Just as an aside, I went and took a look at what our 2019 liquor, beer, wine taxes that we paid to the city, whereas in 2019, that was about $50,000. Okay, so what we're looking to do, if we want to go to the next slide, Katie, thank you, is we wanted to do something that would feel very urban or urbane. And we were originally looking at, design concepts that look something like a Parisian sidewalk cafe. And when we started reaching out and talking to people, we ended up landing on a vendor that has built other structures in the city of Evanston, Triangle, Sign and Awning. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see a pretty much exact photo of what we're looking to do. This is the Gage Restaurant on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. And we've asked the vendors for designs to do exactly this. They can get much fancier than this, but frankly, I can't afford the much fancier version. This will be expensive enough if it's approved. But this is a permanent overhead structure, and there'll be temporary walls that can go up or get taken down, the partial walls that are made of the same fabric as the awning. And the next slide I believe, shows the footprint. We're proposing the exact same footprint as the current Sidewalk Cafe. I did not want to touch or propose any change to the ADA walkways that are in place. So that's why this footprint is in place. And the next slide, I believe you've seen the shop drawings, but the next slide is just a side view and a front view of the proposed Sidewalk Cafe structure. And that's, let me just stop there and answer your questions to the extent I can.
So why don't we go back to the site plan? Because I think that's what people will have the most questions about.
Yep.
All right. So questions from staff.
I
Johanna,
think that, oh, go ahead, please.
I'm just inquiring about the dimensions there for the walkway. Are those correct? There would be 8 foot from, and I actually can't read it the way it was here, but I think it was 8 foot from the corner of the awning to the bench, and then 6 foot walkways is what's going to be maintained.
I believe that's correct.
And there is enough room there to support that?
Yes,
These are
sir.
accurate?
We may, I believe that to be true, yes. I was unable to put the architect, the manufacturer on the call. He had a conflict for this, but.
Okay, if you can just double check on that, because just from driving past it and just walking around that area, it did look like it would be kind of tight there between the bench and again, the proposed area. For what you currently have now, it looks to be kind of tight to support a 6 foot, but I could be wrong.
There was a discussion of relocation of the benches. And if necessary, we would of course cover any costs associated with that.
And what about, I believe there's bollards there too,
Yep,
bollards and lights?
The same thing, right? If necessary, we would cover the cost to relocate the bollards.
And then as far as the walkway there, since it is going to be directly adjacent to your canopy, I assume you guys are going to be maintaining it clear of snow and ice?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the hotel already does that, assuming the hotel stays in business. But if they don't, we do.
And around the whole perimeter, you will be maintaining, correct?
Yep, there has to be a walkway around it. Yep.
Correct.
So if the hotel does not, I just have no idea what the hotel's doing, but historically they've been responsible for that. That's in my lease.
Mm-hmm.
If they are not, if they stay in business, then I would expect them to continue to do that. Otherwise, we will take care of it.
Okay, good.
So
And then I would just be mindful if the canopy is angled, just be mindful since it would be a narrow walkway of any falling snow and freeze thaw, it thawing and freezing on the walkway as well. So just be mindful of that, keeping an eye on that throughout the winter.
Understood.
So TJ, when do you get your deliveries for food? Is it all throughout the day, food and beverage?
Well, it is during the day, unless there's a problem. They probably on general occur 6 days a week, and they go into the alley just west of the restaurant.
Right, and so I would like a condition of this approval, and there's a few other steps that we'll deal with offline, but I'd like a condition of the approval that no delivery trucks can sit south of the south edge of the pad of this overhang, because I see trucks there all the time parked there, and it creates a tight spot for pedestrians to navigate as is. So I'd like all deliveries to be pushed north of that ADA walk.
Joanna, I will work hard to make that happen, understanding that the drivers change continuously. None of these people can retain employees at this time.
Sure.
But we will reach out to all our vendors and ask them to make sure that the south end of their delivery trucks is north
Past that
of,
line.
north of the building line.
Right,
And
north of the ADA passway,
Exactly.
because we've just created this a much tighter spot for people to pass.
Mhm.
And if somebody's I don't want to think about what's going to happen if somebody's navigating with any kind of walking assistance device to try to navigate across the ADA path, squeezed in with next to a truck, which might actually be blocked if doors are open or anything else. So all
Sure.
deliveries, I want to make a condition of this. You have to meet that. Your staff has got to tell people to pull forward or go someplace else for 5 minutes until they can make space, because
Yep.
that just has to be fixed. There can be no deliveries between church and the ADA Parkway, period.
Okay.
And if it's the other restaurants too, we'll deal with that as well. But that space has to be maintained clear at all times.
Yeah, understood.
All right, Laura, you had something that jumped in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Kano covered a lot of my questions, but in general, I think we've really debated this concept, and it looks very similar to what we've discussed. It seems like a reasonable concept. Because you're doing a permanent structure, you will trigger things in our city code that include that we need to see a structural engineer sign off on the design. We need to know what the connection into the sidewalk is. I believe there's a bond that has to be posted related to that if you were to eventually leave the site, then we have to repair the sidewalk type
Yep.
of bond. And so that's not yet provided, and I think that's okay. I would just say that that's something that you have to work with the staff on after we get through this meeting
Okay.
to get all of the other paperwork things done.
Fine, fair enough. So repeating back, I'll need a structural engineer sign off or report, and somebody on the staff will tell me exactly what you folks need. What
Yes,
details on how the structure will be connected to the sidewalk, and you guys will let me know how to set up the required bond.
yes. And
Okay.
I believe there may be one or two other things like noticing your neighbors that this is happening, and other things all can be handled after this meeting with the staff working with you to get that done.
All right, fair enough.
And then are you planning to put any sides on this at any point? With
There
any
are
heat protection?
temporary sides that will go up over the winter, and then will come down in the spring and the summer.
Mr. Callahan, this is Mario Tristan with the Evanston Fire Department.
Yep.
Can you please let us know, are you proposing to put any kind of heating in that enclosure area?
Yeah, I'll need to work with the city and you folks to determine what can and cannot be done. I have not explored that particularly, because if I couldn't get the awning approved, there was no point of even addressing the heat.
Okay.
The idea was most likely an electric radiant heater system. The propane heaters, I'm not excited about having them out there.
Nope.
And I didn't think the city would be excited about that either. So it's most likely a radiant system. But one of my issues right now is the hotel ownership is completely unresponsive. So when I tried to talk to them about this, I got nowhere. So, but that is my intent at some point to have an electric radiant heater system overhead, very much exactly like what was installed at the Gage in downtown Chicago.
Okay,
So-
thank you. Yeah, we'll need to get some information then down the road.
Understood.
Thank you.
And I do want to clarify again, and what's in the code for permanent sidewalk cafes is ultimately, they do go to city council for approval, which I'm not anticipating any concerns. I can't vote. I can't tell you what the city council is going to do, but I don't anticipate any concerns about that. So it's just going to be a question of getting all those details that are in the city code worked through and then going to city council.
Thank
for
you.
final approval.
Any other comments on this? If there's anybody who'd like to provide public comment, just put in the chat to me that you want to provide public comment and I'll recognize you.
So if there's no public comment, I will make a motion for a positive or approval of preliminary and final review contingent on working through all the code requirements that are listed for permanent city or permanent sidewalk cafes.
Do you
Are there
include
other
I'm sorry, did you conclude the conditions?
I just said the ones that are included in the city code.
And the the ones we mentioned about clearing snow and.
I did not, and that
Deliveries.
snow is cleared.
And
And,
delivery.
you know, the surrounding walkways be maintained free of ice, snow, or other debris at all
And
times.
to keep delivery drivers,
And deliveries are
Yep.
kept from blocking the ADA pathway across the adjacent alley. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Second.
And thank you, TJ, for helping us with that motion. Is there a second?
Somebody's taking notes. That's
Yep.
good.
I'll
I
second.
am paying attention.
Thank you. All right. Chris Vanetta has seconded. Katie, would you call the roll?
Knighton,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Kano,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Christian,
Aye.
Vanetta,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Hink.
No, and the public right of way,
Jessica, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you. Laura, can you just take over the meeting for a minute for me?
Sure. Please, Jessica, proceed.
yeah, well, and so just for my reasoning for my no is that the public right of way was designed for this corner to be open and to have the ADA and public sidewalk access to go in front of this building. And so this is quite a variation from the intent of the public space. And so that is the reasoning for my no.
Or are there any other, is that the end of the voting, Katie?
Yes, motion carries 9-1.
Excellent. Thank you for recording the vote. So with that, I think our staff is going to be in touch with you in order to keep moving forward with getting through all of the other requirements that are listed in the code. And then they will schedule this for moving forward to city council as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
very much, TJ.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I'm happy to take over this meeting, but I have no control over the Zoom. So somebody else, if anybody like comes in and is in the waiting room or anything like that, somebody else needs to handle that. So the next case is 584 Lincoln Street. There's a sign variation. Raymond Mandarino is the applicant. Mr. Mandarino, are you on the call? Is there anybody here for 584 Lincoln Street for the sign variation? let's table that to the end of the meeting. Oh,
I see someone. It is, so I do see someone named Ray, but Isaac Miller is also indicating that he's present for this request.
okay. So right now, is anybody who's part of the application here to speak? Are those people here as part of the application, or are they here for public comment on the situation?
I have been working with Ray on the
Great.
application. I'm not officially listed, but I've been working through this whole
Sure.
process.
Please proceed, Mr. Miller. Why don't you give us a quick summary of what you hope to do here?
Okay, so if you will actually scroll to the very last part of the slide on page 50, you will see that these letters are for a fraternity house. I am the house manager of said fraternity, Alpha Epsilon Pi. And if you go to the one below it, you'll see that our letters are currently broken. And they've broken more than that since this picture was taken. And it does not properly display who we are, nor is it like a good public look. And so that is why we are seeking this variation in order to put up illuminated letters to identify the house. And I mean, the main thing is identification. These letters are technically, the light might be visible from the street, but they are blocked by the design of the house. So they're not technically visible from the street. We have gotten permission from Northwestern University. So this is student housing on Northwestern's campus. And so we have gotten permission from Northwestern University in order to put these up. And so I believe that's all that I have to say.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from staff?
So is this sign on the side of the building as opposed to the street facing side?
Mike
Yes,
and Mr. Miller, the sign contractor would like to speak as well, maybe before we get into questioning.
Okay.
I don't know who's able, I think I might be able to. I don't know that I'm co-host or not. Ray, I can see you listed, but your microphone does not have like a red mark through it. Like, I think you can speak.
Ray, are you able to?
Okay. He's like unmuted, so I'm not sure why we're not able to hear him.
If you're not able to be heard, you're totally able to talk, and I don't think we have a concern about that, but it sounds like you're having some trouble with your microphone. If you may want to try calling in on the phone number separately in order to be able to talk.
Or if you're in on a phone already, can you put it in the chat? Because I do see a phone in here.
And also, if you're calling in on a phone, sometimes if you can hit *6 on a cell phone, it will unmute you. So there is a phone number associated with this meeting invite as well. And you can call in separately on your cell phone. That may be more successful. Oh, I see Chris has put the information into the chat on how to do that. We have one of our participants is also having an issue. Katie, are you seeing anybody in the waiting room?
I don't think I'm a co-host, so I can't see the waiting room.
Well, I can't either. So we have a
You were-
problem.
I did just get a notice that you were just made co-host though.
Oh, I am.
Yeah,
That's
so you
fun.
can see the waiting. So you
Um,
have additional permissions.
That's fun. So this would probably be the first time to admit that I've never actually been a host of a Zoom meeting. So where would I find the waiting room to bring people in? Any thoughts?
I think it usually just pops up, but I see Johanna's back.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, is
Sorry.
there anybody waiting in the waiting room?
There's
We were
nobody
having
waiting in the
trouble
waiting room.
with one
Laura,
of
I
these-
made you a co-host too, so.
Yes,
um,
we'll discuss that part later, but
It was either you
that-
or Edgar, and Edgar already told me he doesn't know how to use Zoom.
I don't know how to use Zoom either. So we're equally competent. But the one of the people was having difficulty, who was a presenter, was having difficulty with his microphone, and he was going to call in. Is there anybody sitting in the waiting room? That's the question of the moment.
Now there is, and now they're in.
Okay. Ray, are you able to talk now?
Hello, this is Ray by phone.
Great. Success. Okay,
Hey,
please.
sorry about that. Little technical difficulties at our end over here. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear a word you were saying. We did see the photograph come up, so we are a little bit behind. I apologize.
So we have not really said a whole lot. Mr. Miller has described why they want to have illuminated signs. And then it seemed as if you wanted to speak. So if you have anything you wish to add.
So do you have like a question or anything that you like asking?
Not yet. We were just getting to that point. Are there any?
Yeah, we thought we were missing, so we figured let's at least get something out there, and we did, but unfortunately we don't really have anything to say yet. We're going to answer any question you have.
Okay. Are there any staff questions or comments?
What face is this on?
Mr. Miller.
It is on the face that faces it does not face the street. It faces towards the building on the other side of the, so if you look at the street view, it is on the, in this photo that's shown, it's on the right side, so not on the side that faces the street. Yes, like where the mouse pointer is, it is on that side.
Okay.
But it's visible from the street then.
I believe the light will be visible from the street. However, the sign is only 9 inches deep, and I don't believe that, or I believe the house has the design of the house makes it so that the letters themselves will not be visible from the street.
I'm assuming the sign is illuminated from the inside, and I'm wondering, I guess I'm wondering, why does it need to be illuminated? Like who needs to see this sign illuminated?
It is, I mean, it is to identify where we are and like who is living in the house. It is fairly common for houses on this like kind of fraternity row to have some sort of illuminated sign. And so we are kind of following that precedent.
They
Is
may
it
not want to
illuminated?
get a variance though. We wouldn't have necessarily allowed that.
Okay, well then we are setting the precedent, I guess.
So are any of the other fraternities, do they have their illuminated signs aimed at the other structures, or is it on the street side?
It is all, like, every sign is aimed at other structures, just like ours is.
Okay, so there's no difference on that. Okay.
Is
And
the
is it
illumination
illuminated,
interior? Is it in, for each of the illuminated signs, are there, is the signage itself just interior illumination, or are there lamps that are shining up or down to the signage?
It is
So are the
100%
other signs that you're speaking of the exact same as what you're proposing, or is the illumination in a different way?
The sign itself is illuminated, and the signs that I was speaking of, there are examples of both in this row.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I had to step away for a minute. Let's go back to the standards. We have an application that does not have information about standards. So I'm not gonna vote on this until we have written standards here, because we need to have a written record of this. So this section was empty. But if you want to give us a sneak peek of what you're gonna write for the next meeting, that would be great. And I think the first one you need to start with is unique hardship. And the proposed variation will not merely serve as a convenience to the applicant, but will alleviate some demonstrable and unusual hardship, which would result if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out, and which is not generally applicable to other property within the city. So things that have like signs for people who aren't familiar with going someplace, like hotels have asked for illuminated signs, or doctors' offices have asked for illuminated signs. What is the hardship here that that is being alleviated by putting up this illuminated sign where it can't even be visible from the street? So those are things that we need answers to. That this isn't self-created. The alleged hardship has not been created by the petitioner or any other person presently having proprietary interest in the premises. I'm not sure even if this applies, but I'm not sure I'm not really clear what this is resolving, other than if everybody else has one and you want one, that is not a hardship.
I think at night it is hard to see the letters that we currently have. And so when illuminated letters would serve as, like, the hardship that it's solving is that it is hard to see the letters at night, and the illuminated sign solves that problem of people being able to find our house at night if they are walking along the street inside of the Northwestern campus.
And one comment that was made while you were gone, Johanna, is that Northwestern University has actually approved this already and given them permission. So
They have approved it, yes.
So it sounds though as if some of our staff members would like some additional information just in writing. So I would recommend a motion to hold this to next meeting so that you can provide the additional information in writing.
Okay. That can be done.
Great.
I think it'd be helpful to provide photos of those other signs that you're referring to, just so that we can see what's out there and how this fits with what's out there.
Okay, that can be done too.
So
I will
is there
get.
a second? Is there a second to Laura's motion?
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Councilmember Ravel, I see your hand now.
Right, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I guess my concern is, just what would be the visibility from Lincoln Street, because the other signs that are being mentioned are interior in the campus and are quite a distance away from public sidewalks. So I do have that concern.
Yeah, no, so it's a great question. The visibility would only be if you are driving up towards Sheridan on Lincoln Street. Then so like from Northwestern's campus, basically, if you are on Northwestern's campus, and the sign would be visible as you are driving up, it would not be visible as you are driving down Lincoln Street away from Sheridan.
Right, yeah, but we do have a lot of residents who walk. I'm thinking about pedestrians more actually than vehicles, and And so, and this sign would be illuminated, year round, and is it all night long, or I mean, it's just, anyway, it's a concern.
Yes, I think the most disturbing that it would be towards the residents of the building opposite our
Right.
house, which is a Northwestern managed building.
Right.
And so because Northwestern has signed and approved this sign, that is why that is not a particular concern of mine.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have to be concerned about average residents who might be walking along Lincoln.
Can you explain your concern for the pedestrian walking along Lincoln at night?
They're pedestrian, well, residents might, to the extent that they find the illumination of the big sports complex on the landfill to be what would I say without being too rude? They're very unhappy about any kind of extra illumination that detracts from their appreciation of nature.
There's also a bird-friendly group that has noted that the light pollution alters migratory bird patterns, and that is a serious climate change environmental concern that we are dealing with in Evanston too. And not that this light is going to off track many birds, but it contributes to an overall pollution that we are experiencing in Evanston. So I think that's another piece of the concern, to understand the hardship of related to this sign and why it's so necessary. And the other piece of it is, one of the questions that once we have a complete application, we would ask is, how would you otherwise, are there other ways in which you've looked at potentially resolving this? Is there other things that could help people get to where they need to be? So.
Oh, is that a question you want me to answer now, or just help?
No, just help
information
your
for next time?
applications. I think we have a motion. Okay. Was there a second on that?
Johanna, before we go to that, I mean, have we talked about how bright it actually is going to be? And again, is it on during the day and night?
That's what I was going to ask. If we could get a wattage or the lumens of how bright the lighting is. And absolutely, we can do that. They're all LED lights. There is a photo cell, so it'll be it'll turn on. Obviously, dusk to dawn is when it'll be on, and that's based on the photo cell that's on the side of the sign. But as far as LED lights, yes, we can do that.
That'd be great to have for the next meeting.
Yep, not a problem.
I would, this is Angel. I would also recommend when we come back that you guys have some sort of a plan to make sure that you're making sure that this sign would be maintained, not just the sign itself, but the electrical and the illumination if it's so approved, just so that it continues to be maintained.
Yep. Okay. Understood.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Got a second, third, and a fourth. Okay, so it's been moved to hold. We will. I don't think we have to call the roll for this. We will see you at the next meeting once we have a complete application.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
There isn't any chance you guys went through D, E, and F while I was gone, did you?
Nope.
All right, D, 1726 Sherman Avenue, recommendation to zoning administrator Christopher and Tarrant Moore Leases submit for an administrative review use for a type 2 restaurant, Tomo Japanese street food in the D2 downtown retail core district.
Hello, I'm Christopher Moore.
Welcome. Why don't you guys tell us what you want to do?
Yep. So we're leasing out the old what was it, Olive Mediterranean Grill. Basically, all we're looking to do is a smaller Japanese style restaurant, ramen, soba, different grilled type things. If we get the liquor license, Japanese drinks and liquors. No sushi or anything raw at all. So it's not worth dealing with. We're not looking to do anything bigger than what Olive did. So in fact, we're actually probably gonna be smaller. So it's gonna be, I want to say the front house has 11 tables maximum with 2 chairs apiece. So 22 potential people at a time, but thanks to COVID, we'll probably keep that smaller. Most of our business will be takeout and delivery. But yeah, that's the basics of it.
So although it's not a direct requirement, we do ask restaurants to generally not only try to make sure that there's recycling available, but that they compost their food waste.
100%.
Commercial composting service. Thank you.
Yeah, we actually started off in a food hall that had the same basic requirements. So we have our to-go containers that we like to use are sugarcane. So they are very quick to compost. I want to say that within 2 weeks they're gone.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion for a positive recommendation to the zoning administrator, including the requirements that and conditions that are outlined in the zoning administrator's analysis.
Second.
Okay, Katie, call the roll.
Biden,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Griffith,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Kano,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Benetta,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
Heinck.
Aye.
Motion carries 10-0.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you much.
All right, next up, E 619 Howard Street, India McKay, applicant submits for approval of a special event in accordance with ordinance 45019 for the Evanston Mashup to be held on 9/29. India, you there?
Yes, I am.
Tell us what so if people recall, for them to have a banquet special use when they were originally approved, they have to come when they have any events outside of the restaurant or the hall, they have to come back to Dapper. I don't think we ever anticipated that this would be something that you probably be working into your regular program given COVID, but here we are. So anytime you hold an event outside, you're going to come talk to us about it until maybe we change that provision of the ordinance. So why don't you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, so the first event request is for September 29th, which is the Evanston Mashup, the fundraiser for the Evanston Chamber of Commerce. Many of you know it used to be held at Northwestern every year under a tent. They have decided to move this year, and we were planning on doing everything inside the venue, but with COVID and Delta, they're concerned about people's comfortability being indoors for like a networking event. So they are looking at using our the lot to the east of the building, which is roughly 4,000-ish square feet. We would be doing a 40 by 70 tent with white on both ends, clear span in the middle. It would be lit underneath bistro lights. There would be emergency lighting, illuminated exit signs. There would be no sidewalls on the tent itself. And they're still planning on putting all of the food vendors inside on tables, but for where people actually eat and drink, they want to be able to have them be able to go outside to eat and drink so that when they do take their masks off, people feel more comfortable in an outdoor space versus indoor with kind of everything that's going on right now.
Could you briefly describe the second event as well?
Yeah, so the second event is it's 3 days post the Evanston Mashup. It is my wedding reception.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got married abroad a month ago, but this is so family could actually attend something. The Mashup happened to book their event a couple days before us, so we would be sharing the tent. So it would be the exact same tent setup, 40 by 70. And then we would be looking at, we're doing food and drink inside, or sorry, food and drink under the tent, and then also using a small space on the indoor of our venue. There would be no amplified for our event. There'd be no amplified sound outside. That would be a DJ would play indoors. But we were hoping to have one of the glass garage doors open that I had come before Dapper a couple weeks back, that are currently being installed in the east side of the building. The Mashup was hoping to have music performers from the Chicago Music Institute, I believe. Maybe it is, like playing instruments under the tent, but for the second event, that would be a DJ indoors, not under the tent.
How many special events have you had outside the building?
We did, before I remembered that we had Dapper, we had an event back in June for our grand opening, where we were outside for, I think, 2 hours prior to moving everything indoors.
Was there sound amplification for that event?
There was, yes.
Did anyone get any complaints here? I think that's what Laura's getting at. Not
We
not
did
trying to
not-
be punitive here. We're trying to find out if somebody complained.
No. No one complained during our grand opening. It was like the event started at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then everything was indoors by 7, which is where we had the second show indoors.
So I would like the staff to wait 30 days after these 2 events and then see if any complaints come in. And if they don't, figure out how to make this so that they're not coming back to Dapper for this, if that's feasible.
I mean, I'm okay with that on our end.
You don't want to come to Dapper every single time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love seeing everyone's beautiful faces. But I think where we are at right now with COVID and with Delta, more and more increasingly, every event that comes to us is asking for outdoor space. And we have events, we've already had 3 events this fall, postpone or move to venues that have dedicated outdoor space out of concern. So I think for us, definitely long-term, and that would be a change as well, as far as like, long-term for outdoor use. But I think as a viability as a business, as long as that we can do them in a way that does not disturb neighbors and addresses any concerns about, for both these events, we're looking at having continual shuttle to the S&P parking garage, which is at Clark and Rogers. They have 500 spaces. We're having a valet company come in with shuttle buses and have continual pickups and drop-offs, that there aren't going to be a car influx. We definitely don't want to disturb the neighbors anyway, but I think without the availability of outdoor space, where we are right now with COVID and Delta, I don't know that our business model is sustainable.
I think there's probably 2 or 3 concerns that go along with having outdoor events. One obviously being sound amplification and noise disturbances. And the second being, like, do the people stay put on your property, or are they like wandering off and blocking all the sidewalks and doing all that stuff? Are you spilling over into the street? And it seems that we could probably work up a reasonable set of conditions that would define things. And Johanna can certainly weigh in on this. I feel like I'm totally taking over the meeting. We're not even talking about the events that you're going to offer, but I do believe this would have to go back to City Council as a modification of your special use. But again, given the situation you pointed out, also, I don't know that it's a bad thing to activate the outdoor space next to your building anyway for the neighborhood. I feel that I think it's worth pursuing. That's a short story. However, I'll stop talking to see if anybody else has any questions or comments.
I just have one comment. You're going to be going in front of the Special Events Committee as well in regards for this, correct?
I submitted this for Dapper, and I think I put it in front of the special events.
Yeah, I'll have you here because this is for an upcoming event, Wednesday, September 29th. So I'm not sure which meeting you're going to be going and speaking with. I know there was like one issue last year with Callan, actual going into the street.
Yes, which we are not doing.
Okay.
Actually, so with the special events, they were looking originally asking if we could shut down Callan. After much conversation with the city, we've decided obviously that doesn't work for anybody, so they're not looking at that at all. Now they're only looking at using our the lot on the east of our building.
Okay,
So
and then we can talk. We can talk about those
withdrawn
details at the special events meeting.
Yeah, they've actually, I think, withdrawn the interest for that for the street special event.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion for approval of final determination for both of these special events, both at 619 Howard Street on September 29th and on October 2nd.
Second,
Katie, please call the roll. I think technically we should do two, but I think we'll let it slide this time.
All right. Do we need to clarify that it's just for both events on the 29th and
The
the
motion
2nd?
has been that it's for the motion, just to make sure that the minutes reflect for this, that the motion was amended to approve both events under one motion.
Okay, so my computer's freezing, so I'm gonna do this by memory. So Knighton.
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Griffith.
Aye.
Schnur.
Aye.
Tristan.
aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Biggs.
Aye.
Vanetta.
Aye.
Hank.
Aye.
Eckersberg.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries 10-0.
Okay, so that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll
And we
make a
do DAPR
motion we
next week?
adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 But I didn't mean to cut you off if you would like to discuss if we have DAPR next week.
Nope, just making sure everybody knows we have DAPR next week.
Oh, great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.